Tonight on Live at 5, those seeking job benefits rise as the Federal Reserve tries to jumpstart the economy. But first, the latest from Libya and an exclusive tie to Central Illinois. Good evening, I'm Ashley McNamee. U.S. diplomatic personnel in Libya have been evacuated to Tripoli after the death of Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans. Meanwhile, protests over an anti-Muslim film continue today in Egypt's capital. NBC's Jim Maceda has more.
Benghazi remained fairly calm today. All eyes now are turned to Friday after prayers. Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi has called for protests, of course, outside all mosques tomorrow, but they are supposed to be peaceful and dignified. Still, with tens, perhaps hundreds of thousands expected in the streets, anything can happen. I'm Jim Maceda of NBC News reporting from Cairo. Now back to you.
Well, we've learned of a unique and deeply personal connection that Chris Stevens has to Central Illinois. We're joined now by David Commande, who many of you may know through his role as the conductor of the Heartland Festival Orchestra. He is also the stepbrother of the late U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Very sorry for your loss. It's not been a good week.
Thank you. It's been a blow. It's been a blow.
Well, let's start by remembering your brother. What would you want people to know about him?
Gracious, elegant, modest, unassuming, a man with a gift for reaching out and communicating in every way. I mean, he had a gift to honor the person that he was experiencing or interacting with, not necessarily automatically agreeing, but still he had also a kind of a calm. And this was apparent at an early age. I got to know him when he was 16. When our families got connected through our folks' marriage, and already then he had this calm and this dry sense of humor.
Now, the President and the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have contacted your family. I'm curious, what do you all know about what happened to him?
Well, I don't have a lot of details to share. I mean, we're not going into a whole lot of details. It's marvelous to have the appreciation from our country's leader for Chris's dedication and his service. And I, not just as a stepbrother, but as an American, I'm deeply grateful for what, over the years, Chris has quietly dedicated.
Now, we've learned that 4 people have been arrested in connection to his death. Your brother devoted a lot of time, resources, aid to Libya. And now to have a small faction of the people from Libya responsible for his death, does that change your sentiment toward our involvement there? How do you feel today about it?
It doesn't change my personal sentiment. I don't feel that we need to hold a nation or a people responsible for the actions of a few, any more than I think Americans need to be held responsible for the actions of a filmmaker, for that matter. And the whole point of, I think, of what Chris was about was affirming the Libyans. I mean, it's deeply moving when you see on the Facebook all the tributes to Chris from Libyans and their deep regret and remorse over what's happened. I'd rather see this as a sense of, well, all right, let's hang in there with what Chris had in mind.
And I understand he is back on U.S. soil tonight, so I hope that you and your family accept our condolences, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Well, we've also learned that there are 2 theories for this attack: outrage over that anti-Muslim film made in the United States, or that the attack was planned to coincide with the anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. One local international studies expert says U.S. relations with allies in the Middle East will help bring the terrorists in Libya to justice. Bradley University instructor Angela Weck says the Libyans did not play a role in the September 11th terrorist attacks.
Why Libya would kick in on September 11th, they had nothing to do with it in the first place. Whereas somebody else, like Saudi Arabia, for example, you know, where the bombers came from, didn't have anything. So the tie to September 11 may or may not be all that significant. It might just be a weird coincidence.
Weck says she has not seen the video, nor does she plan to view it. She says the terrorists are not representative of the Islamic faith, adding that a majority of Muslims do not live in the Middle East. Unemployed Americans seeking jobless benefits rose to its highest level in 2 months. The Labor Department says 15,000 more applications were handed in last week than the previous week, and it may have something to do with Hurricane Isaac. Labor officials say the Category 1 hurricane disrupted work in 9 states and upped applications. These figures follow a disappointing economic report for the month of August and also come as the Federal Reserve ends a 2-day meeting today. They're expected to announce new steps to boost the economy, and they did. So there may be new hope tonight for job seekers as the Fed promises $40 billion a month to jumpstart the economy. U.S. stocks shot up within minutes today after the Federal Reserve announced the bold steps to stimulate the slow-growing economy by making it cheaper for businesses to borrow and spend. Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke says the feds will buy $40 billion worth of mortgage debt a month indefinitely and extend protections, keeping interest rates low. Bernanke is hoping this positive reaction on Wall Street will trickle down to the unemployed.
While the economy appears to be on a path of moderate recovery, it isn't growing fast enough to make significant progress reducing the unemployment rate.
Financial experts and lawmakers are leery and warning of unintended consequences like the rising costs for goods and services. Bernanke disagrees. He says he's counting on this federal assistance to significantly reduce unemployment within 3 years. The Peoria County Board has ruled it does not have jurisdiction to hear an appeal of a decision allowing development of a subdivision on farmland in Limestone Township. The board said the group of local residents, which call itself Preserve Farmland, filed the appeal with the wrong body. In addition, that filing was late. Initially, some members of the board wanted to hear the appeal until they learned the authority belongs to the county zoning staff.
What just transpired was the who's on first, because what did they tell these people? They said, you have the authority to decide whether or not you have the jurisdiction, but you don't have the jurisdiction. Now, I don't know if you can make any sense out of that, but I can't.
Developer Washington Trails Edge plans to turn about 70 acres of farmland off Smithville Road and Cameron Lane into residential lots. Just ahead on Live at 5, the first 2 cases of West Nile are confirmed in Peoria County. Also ahead tonight, in the first ban of its kind, the Big Apple places restrictions on sugary drinks.
You're watching Your Home Team at 5 with Ashley McNamee and Chief Meteorologist Chuck Collins. This is News 25 Live at 5.